your computers. I'm sure it's cold outside, so hopefully more people will come in. Let me know when you're ready, Richard. Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to today's conference. We're really excited to get this going on the last day of the conference. So right now we have Yvon Delalance going to be presenting some of the findings that he had while he was here in Winnipeg. Great, here's Yvon.
Hi everyone. Yeah, let's have just a quick conversation around what's happening these days. I think I'm going to show some slides. I'm going to be very fast in the way that there's a lot of things to cover, but yeah, let's do that, and let's see who else is joining as well. Okay, so can you guys help me with the, yeah, thanks, thank you. So on the first day, actually, we talk about what does Winnipeg look like, and the intention of this was to trying to create a vision of a city and analyze in a current diagnosis what the city has, what opportunities does the city has to go into a more into a vision of more equal cities. So we talk about the challenge and the opportunities. First of all, we talk about the context. So the global context is what are the challenges and the opportunities that we are having here. So it's mainly the urbanization, motorization, and congestion, and emissions, and energy, and air quality challenge. So it's, of course, climate change. You want to come here? Come here. We just need one more seat. If you want to grab a chair. Oh, there. Yeah, sure. So we talk about that this is not only about Winnipeg. It's actually a global challenge around urbanization, motorization, congestion, emissions. And the problem is actually that by 2050, we are expecting to having 70% more people in cities. Currently, we are 50% of the global population are in cities. We are expecting that this number is going to grow by 70% in the 2050. So the negative externalities associated with this challenge are going to grow very fast and are going to feel a lot. It's already happens in most of the cities, like Mexico City, where I'm from. And of course, we need to consider COVID-19. We also talk about the technical aspects, what is literature and data showing, and it shows that the cities can reduce 90% of their emissions with measures that are technically feasible today. 21% of this potential of the reduction is coming from the transport sector, and transportation also contributes up to 70% of the urban pollution in cities, which is very, very bad. It's a big issue now. And also it's increasing and contributes to 50% increase of death rates in COVID-19. So what are the future scenarios for urban mobility? We are expecting that the daily trips in urban areas will increase by 50%, and the freight is going to increase at least in 70%. So the future scenarios is to keep on doing business as usual, which is very negative because we will have a negative shift from walking and cycling to more private motorized vehicles. This has already happened in Winnipeg since the 1950s. We will see one slide about it. And also that the transit trips will increase only by 30%, while private motorized trips will increase by 80%. The positive scenario that needs a lot of public policy shows that we can duplicate the modal share of transit while increasing the modal share of walking and cycling. And we can also keep the number of trips made by private vehicles at current level, and all extra mobility would be provided by sustainable modes of transport. So we talk also about the 000 vision, which is a vision, a global vision that shows that zero death, zero exclusion, and zero emissions are feasible in cities today. Zero deaths because no death is acceptable on the road. So the Vision Zero and the Safe System approach, it's an European system around road safety, and it's working already in many cities. Zero exclusion, because we need to guarantee equitable access to basic services in cities, jobs, education, health services for everyone, not only for some group of people. And zero emissions, because emissions could be avoided by shifting to more sustainable modes. So urban and active mobility are fundamental elements for sustainable development. It's a way to provide sustainable and health access to cities. Service and opportunities is very cheap. It's a way to reduce inequality of access to these cities in a very cheap way. I show some data around Mexico City, and we talk about this Italian author that in the book Invisible Cities, he says there are two types of cities: the ones which through the years and mutations keep on shaping the desires, and those in which the desires achieve to erase the city or are erased by it. So this could be a little confusing, but the main objective is to show how a vision of the city, in the case of many of the North cities in North America, have been shaping their vision and their desires around the car. So it's a car-oriented development policy. So everything was around the car, and it produced a lot of negative externalities. So if we change the vision, if we change the desires of the citizens, we can also change the way we live. Just a little bit of context of Mexico City. It's a 22 million inhabitants city, 9 million in the central zone, 35 million trips, a lot of cars, a lot of vehicles in general, a lot of negative externalities around this. So we lost $10 billion every year because we spend 4 hours in an average day commute. So this is already happened in many cities, not only in Mexico City. But then when we analyze these 35 million trips, we can see that not so many trips are made by car, actually. So only 20% of the total trips are made by private vehicles, which includes also motorcycles. But a lot of these trips are sustainable already. 45% of these trips are made in public transport, 32 by walking only. This is very interesting because it's not because people is choosing to walk, it's because they don't have any other option. They can afford transport. In Mexico City, transport is subsidized in 80%, which is a lot. But still, the people cannot afford transport. And unfortunately, only 2.1% by bicycles. So this is the real problem in cities that is happening now. Cities are very unequal, and mobility in cities could be an indicator of the quality. It could be a quality index on how people access to city services, from jobs to educations. So, for example, in this graphic is showing a study made in Mexico City, which shows that the people who lives in the core, in the green area, has 28 times more access to jobs than the people who lives in the red zones, right? Because it's a city that it's already gentrified. And when we analyze this same index for health opportunities, for health access, it's 120 times more access, the people who lives in the core, than the people who lives in the red areas. So it's very unequal. We need to change that. We need to change that in every city. And then we analyze some data around Winnipeg. So we can see that the city has been growing quite fast in the last 75 years. It increased more than 3 times the urbanized area, but as well the population. it could seem like it's normal, but it's not, because the urbanized area has grown a lot, has grown too much. And it means to have less density, and it means that the government needs to spend a lot of money to take these services to the people who live in the suburban area. So when we compare Mexico City and Winnipeg, we can see that the Mexico City has, the area is only 3 times larger than Winnipeg, but population in Mexico City is 30 times bigger. So of course we need, this is how we can talk about density, right? Because we need to pack more people in less space in order to be more sustainable. Then we see the mobility context. So we can see, this is what we were talking about, how the number of trips by car has increased from 60% to 78%. And we have been losing a lot of sustainable trips by transit and by walking and bicycle. 12% in the 1966, it was a very good percentage of bicycle trips and walking trips. Having now 7% is very low, is very, very low, especially because most of these trips are concentrated in walking trips. We also talk about other externalities, how the increased price of fossil fuels can really produce change mode in the way that we move. Then we also analyze what are the key issues for the people who live in Winnipeg. They take care around climate change, safety, traffic congestion, city finances. Then, according to this transportation master plan on the 2050, the people in Winnipeg want 2 big things that are very bipolar, which is they want better maintained roads and fewer potholes, and they also want effective expressways. But they also want better bike infrastructure and better bus services. It's very opposite the desires, right? Then let me get back a little bit to Mexico City. Just in this vision of the city, 15 years ago, we established the bicycle mobility strategy. It was a very crazy thing for Mexico City because we also have like a lot of people, a lot of cars. But we based this strategy in 3 main pillars, which are cultural and educational things, like the Open Street program, the bike schools. We then make infrastructure and equipment, which are basically bike lanes and bike hubs, and the bike sharing program. So nowadays we have an Open Street program, a very big Open Street program every Sunday. So 55,000 people is coming to this program. It's 55 kilometers around the city, so it's a very good way also for tourists to know to going around. The cycling network is growing. It's almost 300 kilometers. It has to be like segregated with these yellow elements because a lot of people is not respecting the space for cycling, but it works in this way. This is some pictures how it looks before and how it looks after. And of course, while more infrastructure is coming, more people is coming to the bicycle as well because it feels safer. This is the bike sharing program. It's going to, now it's almost 7,000 bicycles, and it's going to grow to 10,000 bicycles. These are the massive bike hubs transport center. This is the way that these public spaces in massive transport centers look like. But then it comes to this. We created this massive bike hub where people can leave the bike and then use the public transport to do the entire trip. This is another example as well. We take this place, it's just right up north in the city, and we make this bicycle hub, massive bike hub as well, and we provide other elements in the public space so that people can enjoy not only cyclists, but especially moms with kids and enjoy the public space. Of course, all of this was not well received. We talk about this the second day, what was the name? David versus Goliath, right? So we said, what is Goliath? So Goliath is it's not necessarily a specific figure, but it's the battle for public space, because public space is now something that everyone desires. So a lot of people actually in Mexico was also kind of a battle for public space. But we said that also when you live surrounded by privilege, equity and inclusion could feel like a discrimination. So of course, it's kind of normal to feel this when you take some space that it has been used for someone in 50 years at the same, like parking, for example. When you take this space and you change the way we live, of course it's gonna feel like you are taking something from me that it belongs to me, right? So we know from these studies that bikeability and walkability in Mexico City has saved a lot of money to government, especially on benefits for public health. We're having huge things around obesity because people don't move, because people eat very bad in the daily meals that they have. So this is how these programs have been saved a lot of money on non-communicable diseases, such as cardiovascular diseases and diabetes. So let me show you another slides so Max can present some of the context that we check here. Just 3 more slides here from my side, and then I'm just gonna pass the mic. We were saying that, let me go here. Okay, just quickly, tactical urbanism. We were saying, what is tactical urbanism? Tactical urbanism, it's a way that city and organizations demonstrate how people can use the public space, specifically the streets, in another way, like what is happening just right now here on Ellis. We can use the whole street for just one day to play, to meet each other, to do something. In this case, for example, we produce a new design on the street in order to provide more safety. So the street, we paint it, so all the new design is providing new safety crosses for the people. And we said this because 80% of the public space are streets in cities, and only 20% of the public space are sidewalks or recreational spaces. So we need to improve the way we move, especially because road safety is a huge issue around the world. This was the before and after, sorry, it's in Spanish, but it was the before and after how we improve the way that the people can cross in this street, in this intersection. This is another example that we also make in a neighborhood in Mexico City. This is also a test that we make in the mobility context in Mexico City. So we let the people can prove the demonstration of the tactical urbanism, and this is the semi-permanent implementation of this design in different intersections. The slides are here. Oh yeah, here. Sorry. We were saying, what are the possibilities for Winnipeg? These are the pictures that I was taking in the city. So we can see that the snow has been doing a lot of the work, actually, because this space is actually a new space that we can gain and we can improve in the design so the people can cross, can do the crossing in a safer way. This is also how we can see the design. This is actually a space that the vehicles are not using specifically. When we do this kind of designs, we can improve that the turns are safer because when we provide these 90 degrees turns, we can lower the speed when the vehicle turns. And here we go. So this is the part that we make for Ellis. Please, Max, go ahead.
Yes, so over the past month, I've been working on a proposal for this, of the street, of the block right in front of us, taking up the exact amount of space that the block party is going to take up. And yeah, I find it pretty neat. It really it's a perfect example of what a street could be, and it promotes biking, walking, and is generally safer to be on, emphasizing the safe part. And if you want to...
Would you like me to show the design?
Yes, please.
Okay.
So here it is. As you can see, the road has been reduced by a lot, and there's also an added curvature into it. It's designed to be the street is designed so that the speed is lowered and safer for people. Crosswalks on the westbound side and eastbound side are also made simpler to cross. 90-degree. When cars are turning left or right, there's also sharper turns, meaning that cars really have to slow down, so there's less incidents of people taking a turn and running into people. And it also provides some parking for some of the services along the street, but still maintaining a safe place for everyone. So, yeah.
I think just one comment here is that after Max do this design, we went into the street as well and do some kind of a road safety audit. It's not specifically a road safety audit because this road safety area has a specific process to develop, but we went into the street to see and review the opportunities, the actual and the current conditions, the challenges. So we review the main origin and destinations points, we review the accessibility, the infrastructure and equipment, the speeds. We didn't have how to measure specifically the speeds, but we can see how fast the vehicles can go, the possible road safety conflicts, particularly between the pedestrians and the cycling, with the turns, and the current behavior and the traffic sign and the lights. So Max has the chance to compare his current design with the actual situation on the street. Actually, there were so many maintenance works. Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, like we noticed okay, you can hear me. We noticed a few things that we could have added. Like, of course, this is not final at all. It's just a proposal idea to the city, hopefully. And yeah, you want to continue?
Yeah, I was just showing the pictures on what we review and the schools that are over here, so we can see the behavior in the neighborhood. So the design, basically the design needs to answer to the current needs from the neighborhood, right? It needs so it needs to be like a current diagnosis that really address the problems that we have here. So yeah, very good work of Max. He's only 15.
Yeah, I'm only 15, by the way.
That's
Still in high school.
He wants to be an urban planner, actually. So imagine these kind of urban planners like being in the city government, right?
Yeah, I have a bit of a head start.
Yeah. So I think this is it. Thank you very much, and we would like to open the conversation as well. If you have any comments, questions, whatever you would like to say. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Question for Max. So, you know, there's the space between the existing sidewalk in your design and what you're proposing. So there's kind of some unallocated space. Have you looked into what the community needs are, or like different amenities that you could put in that space? Or, you know, do you have any ideas of like public art or, you know, street furniture or something that can go in that extra space now that's not occupied by cars?
Well, the areas are always open, so something like that could always happen. And yeah.
Well, maybe for Yvonne, like, what's the most popular type of street furniture that you're installing across Mexico City?
Yeah, so this is actually a design that is in process and can be improved for everyone in the community. Actually, it would be great if most of the people who lives here, who are interested as well, could join to do a new tour, a new audit. There's like tons of methodology to do this. There are very simple ones, so you can do like checklists. What we can see in the current behavior is, for example, the parking behavior, how people is parking for what, where, the main origin and destination. So for example, one of the conclusions was we need to extend the design in order to get into the, what's the name of the building that it's in the next block? Ellis Place, yeah, that's right.
It's either one of those two.
Yeah, it's one of the origin and the major origin and destination places. A lot of people is crossing that street, but specifically the equipment that it's on the street is not necessarily proper aligned. We need to align as well the bus stops to improve the signs. We saw a very big, huge problem with the left turn here on Sherbrooke. So it's not well, it's very narrow, and the vehicles comes very, very fast from Sherbrooke. And there's a lot of people who is crossing. So the first thing we need to address is the road safety issues, especially for kids. There's some people from the neighborhood who is doing like voluntary work every day, I think, like from 11 to 12, who is helping childs to cross and families, because there's a lot of parents who go to the school, take the childs to home, get some lunch, and then go back to school. So there's a lot of improvement. I mean, this could still like a very whole process to include more things.
There's still a lot more to it.
Yeah. So in Mexico City, what do you see as the most popular type of street furniture to add when you're installing this? Like, is it benches or bike racks, or is like I'm just curious if you're doing a lot of this stuff, like what ends up being very popular to put in these reclaimed spaces?
It depends on the place. Basically, for example, in downtown, there's a lot of people, because a lot of people goes to downtown. I love to go to downtown because it's a very historic place. So basically, when you are in downtown, you don't have a place to sit. It's so full that you don't have chairs. So eventually, what we create there, it's a bollard to protect the streets. When we did like semi-pedestrian street, like lower speeds zones, we create bollards big enough so people can take a seat on the bollard. So it was very popular, actually. It's a very quick sit. It's just like, I'm gonna wait here like 2 minutes or 3 minutes. But it's very popular because people like to enjoy the public space. The public space needs to be safer, but also needs to begin a common place. And to become a common place, you need to provide something that people can enjoy in the place. For example, the other thing that is very, very popular, it's games for kids or sportive furniture. So people need to go there and like having 20 times while he's waiting for someone else, or while he's waiting to enter to a museum or a restaurant. It depends on the context, because other contexts, for example, needs, if it's a very huge origin and destination and the people who goes there is very young, maybe they go by bicycles and they don't have enough safe space to leave the bicycles. It really depends on the context, but the most popular in Mexico are places to sit, to take a coffee, to enjoy, to play, basically. Yeah.
Very cool, thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. I was just wondering what you have as an answer to sections of Winnipeg that are in the suburbs. And when you buy a home there, you have to understand, I'm not sure if you sign something, but you have to understand that there's no public transport during the day. So how do you address that? Do you think it should be mandated that there is public transport, and who pays for that?
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm having so much problems because the monitors are coming in this way, so I can't hear very well the questions. But did you hear the question? Can you repeat it for me?
Based off what I heard, it's mainly just public transit in further suburbs. Is that correct?
It is, so there's some parts of the city where you're not, when you buy a home, you have to sign that you know there's no public transport during the day. So for a huge those people that live in the suburbs, there's no public transport option. So do you have to mandate that it's necessary, or how do you move that group of people into the city?
Okay, yeah, thank you again.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the core of the mobility in every city is public transit, of course. And it depends on the demand and the length of the trip, the type of public transit that you need. For example, here, I use the public transit a few times. And I have to say that I have to wait a lot, a lot. So it's not necessarily reliable. So if I'm on a rush and I need to get to work like in 30 minutes, I need to plan ahead like 1 hour before, because maybe I need to wait for the bus 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 15 minutes. Is not reliable, especially when a city starts to grow. It gets more stress, so you get less time, so you need to go in faster. So in the case of Mexico City, where there are 33 millions of daily trips and 23 millions of inhabitants, we have 12 lines of metro who moves 4 million people every day. So the trips are really fast. You can basically go into the bus stop and you don't wait anything. So the metro is really fast. So the core of every city is effective public transport. Yes. I think we are on time, right?
Yeah. Very sorry. Everybody give it up to Yvonne and Matt.
Great.
If you guys want to talk to Yvonne and Max, they're going to be outside helping out with the street party out there. But if you guys want to stick around in here, we have the next panel coming up soon, but we have Franny Klein going to be playing some music for you guys.
Thank you.